One of the most interesting conversations I get into is the conversations around gross pay and net pay. And most of the time, employees are often quick to refer to the popular meme around see your gross pay, see your net pay, and usually gets me into some interesting conversations. So today on HR Insight, I'm going to be exploring the concept of gross pay and net pay. What really is the difference between the two of them? And I'm going to be doing that after taking this video message from our sponsor of today's episode. Seamless Payroll is part of a family of enterprise cloud-based software from Seamless HR. Seamless HR is committed to changing the face of payroll management across Africa and other emerging markets with Seamless Payroll. Seamless Payroll allows organizations to simplify and automate their payroll management system in terms of employee salary payment, remittance of statutory deduction, and managing other employee benefits. Check out Seamless Payroll at seamlesshr.com/payroll. What is gross pay? Gross pay is all earned income by an employee from the place of work before any deductions are made. Talking about statutory deductions and personal deductions, they are statutory are defined by law, while personal deduction is defined by the employee itself, and we're going to be getting into what that means in a bit. Now, your gross pay is often broken into your basic salary and other allowances. That is why when you see your offer letter or your offer letter is given to you by your employer, you would notice a lot of breakdown of your annual salary. So you would have some elements that look similar to saying basic salary, housing allowance, transport allowance, utility allowance, dressing allowance, wardrobe allowance, meal allowance, 13th month, 14th month, 15th month. That was a joke actually, but you will see that the allowances can go to infinity depending on the kind of organization. That is why it gives you that false impression that the gross salary is really large. As a matter of fact, what you should be concerned about is your net salary. So what is your net salary? Your net salary is the income an employee receives after all deductions has been made. Talking about your statutory deduction and your personal deduction that have been made from your gross salary. Now, talking about statutory deductions in themselves, these are statutory deductions that are backed up by law and regulation. Talking about your payee tax, talking about your employee pension, talking about your NHF, National Housing Funds. All these deductions must be made from your gross salary before arriving at your net salary. Then the personal deduction bit of things is talking about union dues. So for employees that are part of a union in a unionized environment, sometimes there are union dues that are deducted from the salary, and this will be done at source before your salary is given to you. Talk about your loan. So if you take a staff loan, for example, from either the organization directly or a cooperative within the organization, such loans would need to be repaid on a monthly basis, and that would fall under personal. Such loans will need to be deducted at source from your salary, and that will fall under personal deductions, as the case may be. Then if you're doing we call your annual voluntary contribution, the annual voluntary contribution, AVC, your annual voluntary contribution is an additional amount that the employee volunteers to add to pensions. Interestingly, the ability for an employee to understand the difference between gross pay and net pay is very critical at the salary negotiation process. I usually advise most employees to always negotiate based on your net pay. What that means is this: your net pay is what we know as your take home pay. But most of the time when an employee say my gross pay is so large, but my net pay is very small, is because at the point of salary negotiation, they were negotiating based on gross. And your gross will never be your take-home pay, because that gross would be subjected to deductions, statutory and personal deductions. So it is always very critical at the salary negotiation process, always negotiate based on your net salary, because what that helps you to do is that it does not form an expectation. So if you go to an interview and you say that I want to collect 250,000 naira, and you did not state gross or net, you're already setting yourself up for disappointment, because you would discover that at the end of the month, what you're going to be given is not going to be 250k. It's going to be 250k less deductions, statutory and personal deductions. But if you go for an interview and you say, what amount are you asking for negotiation? And you say, I want 250k net, which you're trying to say that I don't want to know how you do your deductions. I want my take-home pay to be 250k. What that state at that point is that irrespective of the deductions, you want your salary to be 250k. Now you know. Next time you're going for that interview, please negotiate based on net and not gross pay. So before you go, remember to slash the like button and also watch some other recommended videos that are in the description below. See you in the next episode.